probably sees this. They're like, now, there is an example. It's growing out the dead branch. You don't want to cut that stub off. You don't want to cut this stub off. You want to cut just outside of it. This is how trees naturally compartmentalize. And if you cut here, you're going to compromise this whole situation, same as that. Horizontal picture of me right there. As I'm driving this. I gotta remember to do thumbnail pictures. Alright, we slid just a little there. I was asked a question how this wheeled machine drives in the snow. Obviously, if you're on a hill, it's like that big old thing just slid off the roof there. If Leo would have been standing by the building, he would have got ransacked. So this would definitely slide on the snow. But as you can see, it's driving in the snow quite nicely. Now we do have, it's just above freezing right now, so we have pretty crunchy snow. And that tends to be pretty good traction on, you know, 32 to 35 degree snow is pretty good traction. You start to get warmer and then it gets sloppy and more slippery. And then really cold snow, like below zero kind of snow. All right, I want to kind of, you want to look at your setup. You don't want to be over. Now this is a long branch. I might take this one back to that lateral just because that's a potential, you know, summer branch drop right here in the front yard. We got 10 feet of roof clearance, and then, you know, deadwood. There's some big lunker deadwood in here, 2-inch deadwood that we're getting. So yeah, you want to set up your lift so that you got a night, you can go all the way up. And I'm gonna want to get, I might want to be over a little bit because I want to be able to get through the middle and up to that high side. But I don't want to limit myself over here. So I probably want to get over. So I can all-terrain or all-wheel steer, crab steer. Go a little bit that way. And toggle over. And come just back just a little. I think when I'm all the way up and turned around, I'm gonna drive forward again. And I'm gonna crab steer a little farther this way. I gotta cut that stub off, and that might be a good discussion over there. So that's the specifications here, and this DinoLift is the 92 RXT RBG Inc. out in New Hampshire is the stateside dealer, and this has a 92-foot vertical reach and a 52-foot side reach. So this is a, you know, this is 65 inches in diameter. It's kind of a 3-stem grown together, so it's not as impressive as a 65-inch single stem. But So I might do some retrenchment pruning on this long lower branch here, you know. Leo did a couple of little pruning cuts on the low hanging epicormics. That vertical epicormic, I'm glad he left that, because that's, you know, I'll probably leave that for along this limb here. This long low one we could reduce right to there or take it all the way back to there. That's kind of discretionary. That's over a 4-inch cut, so maybe I'll just do a retrenchment pruning on that long lower branch, and it's got enough suckers and epicormics on it that it'll sprout out and be able to sustain itself. Yeah, so that's kind of how I think through. You know, we got a long limb off the back. We'll probably reduce the low stuff and then retrenchment prune, you know, bring back to laterals to try to avoid a summer branch drop. I mean, this essentially was a summer branch drop. This limb here probably looked a lot like that one over there. And boom, some 95-degree day in the summer that broke off. So by reducing that long one and back, we can avoid those types of breaks. Same with this, we can lighten this one up quite a bit. Probably just take this off and maybe those other lower ones. And that can eliminate, same with that up there, we can reduce back and eliminate that compression, tension, cracking potential. So let's see, what other significant pruning ideas can we have on this? Beautiful tree, kind of an isolated oak, so oak wilt doesn't have to threaten this if it doesn't get a summer branch drop like that. So this type of pruning can help preserve a big old growth like this. Game of trees, we're having fun. All right, so here we are at a position of a branch. We're probably going to reduce this one a little bit. And this one we can just take right off here. This is retrenchment pruning. You know, the trees do this themselves, just like that. But they don't do it as nicely as what I'm going to do it. So we're going to take this off. That'll lighten it to this. We'll probably, you know, remove this lower one back to here. And we can just lighten this up quite a bit. You'll see how much the branch will rise. We've got a new chain on the... All right, you see how much that picked up? Now we can drop this off. All right. So that picked up a fair amount just by taking off those couple of small branches. And that alters... treating me nicely here. Gotta use the handsaw. We'll probably take off this whole lower branch here. And that'll lighten this up quite a bit. We got one dead branch and one live branch. A little breakage there. Oh, dropping it on my lift. I gotta lift awareness, lift awareness. Yeah, proximity alarm, says Terry. Alright, so we'll probably brake cut this. This is good. Oh, good eye. Thank you. You don't want to crush it. Oh, look at that. Wow, he's persistent. You don't want that creating some kind of crushing force on the lift. That was a good eye, Terry. All right, well, there's some examples of retrenchment pruning. Now we're gonna bring this one, I'll jump down here and shorten this up, probably all the way to this one. Now the rule is 1/3 the size of the one you're cutting off. So I'm making a 3-inch cut, and that's a 1-inch. So that actually, I mean, it looks like a big disparity, but you know, a 3-inch diameter is more than 3 times the volume of a 1-inch diameter, you know, but it's probably like 6 times a volume. But you know, we use that 30% rule. You know, a 3-inch cut, you want at least a 1-inch branch to sustain the limb. Plus we have these epicormic sprouts, suckers as people would call them. They're not something just to cut off. You want to leave those on there. You should have, you know, leafy foliage along the branch, not just out at the end. That would be like a lion's tail. All right, game of trees. We're having fun. Okay, here is a good example of how to do like a pretty major retrenchment. If I'm reducing a branch that's going to eventually come off, like in training pruning, I'll take the uppermost portion and leave the lower portion. But in this, where we're altering a natural branch, but we want to keep an ongoing growth of the branch, I want the top one left, because that's your tension wood there. If I make this cut, now I've got decay potential on the top side of this remaining weight. I want to take the bottom weight off and leave the top one that has a better natural structure, and then this will compartmentalize in time. And then you know, I'll probably make a couple reductions on that one, and then this one here, and we'll reduce that one a little bit, and we'll lighten this overall, but not dramatically so. So I could take this whole thing off here. That's just a tad bigger than I would want. So I could take it there and leave that little auxiliary. That's probably what I'll do. Let's try the Milwaukee here. All right, making the drop cut. All right, we reduced it a little bit. I know. Reminding me of the work order. The retrenchment pruning is kind of add-on that I did for your benefit in the listening audience. What value? I'll give this video to my sales guys too, so they can understand how to sell a big tree like this. I didn't sell this one, Eli did. Pit bull that just came out the house to greet you. Looks friendly. Yeah, you can name him Wiggles. He says, "Don't stop." All right. Yeah. All right, I might be a little close to this branch. I'm actually gonna fulfill my ground clearance on these ones. Oh, look at this. Perfect. All right, we got deadwood and a little, so we'll accomplish some retrenchment pruning on the ground clearance here. So Terry, I'm within the specs here. I know, and I get on a roll and I start going off script. We're pretty particular about our work orders. Yeah. Oops. So we are where are we at here? That lightened that up quite a bit. This big one is all the way dead. This one's all the way dead, it would appear. Even though you see buds, but it's all dried and desiccated. Come on. So I'll take care of the all right, so we got a deadwood here throughout, and I'll just make a couple of reduction cuts. That low one, I'll take that whole thing off. Get the idea. I'll tap out for a while. Pruning is kind of boring. All right, big drop cut. suppose I could go over and take care of all the ground clearance. Now here, these aren't 2 inches thick, but you know, the client probably sees this. They're like, now, there is an example. It's growing out the dead branch. You don't want to cut that stub off. You don't want to cut this stub off. You want to cut just outside of it. This is how trees naturally compartmentalize. And if you cut here, you're going to compromise this whole situation. Same as that. I actually nicked that with my saw, but yeah, you want to leave that stub there. This is dead. It wasn't 2 inches, but all right, now we'll extend out. Look at this reach with this bad boy. DinoLift. So when the client asks you about that stub, you have a reason to tell them. Now, this one we can probably take to right here because we'll get the 10 feet of clearance. And we can leave all this material on there. So dead. This is all alive. All right, we gotta watch our rotation. Now we aren't even out yet. Yeah. To keep some of this funky looking branch, so we'll take this lower one. We'll leave that stuff. This is dead. That'll look obvious. We're gonna take this low one. All right, so we got a little retrenchment. We got the ground clearance. We don't want to slam into that trunk, and you do have a little over travel. You know, you gotta kind of feather it. We can get out here and we got a piece of dead wood here. Starting to blink at me because I'm way out here. Could lighten this one up, do a slight reduction. Now we can boom up the lower boom and keep our distance out here. Okay, it just beeped, so it'll let me go up or it'll let me go in. Now I got a little ugly piece of dead wood. It wants me to go in. So it was everything I could do to get, I'm gonna take this end off. a dead branch? Oh, here's a good example of a dead branch and a live branch. Look at the bud coloration. We got nice red buds there. This is the northern red oak. And this is a dead portion. Take that little guy off. He's less than 2 inches, but it's right out there at the end of a obvious branch. All right, we can jump over here and get this little dead stick. You know, Don Blair wrote the book Arborist Equipment way back when, and in the foreword he describes oakmen and ukemen. And the oakman was the arborist, like the board certified master arborist. He'll carry a hand pruner into a tree like this, you know, and detail that thing till his heart's content. Just a little bit like I'm doing right now. So I got a little bit of oakman in me. And the ukeman is like, you know, the Australian rugby player tree guy that has the attitude and personality of a eucalyptus. Gnarly, cantankerous, get her done mentality. And you know, I'm a little bit of both of those on this pruning, where I'm jumping over here to take this little dead branch that I saw, because I just have to. My ground guys shake their heads at me. But you know, sometimes I hear my wife Lisa's voice in the background going, what about that one? What about that one? She's come out to the job sites occasionally, and it's a 2-inch deadwood and larger, and she's like, what about that one? What about that one? I see it all the way on the inside of the canopy, that one right there. And like, it's a 2-inch deadwood. Yeah, but I can see it. Don't you have somewhere to go? Weren't you on errands? Weren't you running errands? But so yeah, I'm being a little bit of an oak man right now on this oak tree. Man, this thing is not quite, I know why they put it lower, Terry. The saw, because the saw handle's now interfering with all the other stuff. Come on, get underneath this branch. Alright, we got some deadwood right above the lift. Alright, so this is boring again. You got the oak man, uke man conversation done. We're gonna get this deadwood here. Alright. So to get through this canopy, you know, sometimes you gotta go under and over and through. I have to do a... Oh, did I drop a saw out of here? There's a saw on the ground, a little, my handsaw. No, I had it in the top. It probably got hooked out of the top. It's in the snow somewhere. So it's the silky. Yeah, somewhere close, because I used it not long ago. Well, that's why I used to have it sticking out the top. That's why I don't have it sticking out the top. You found it? Good deal. Yeah, if I had you get my other one when you went out there, I'd still have one. Still have the unbelievable, look at that hanger. Wow. Yeah. So let's see if I can't wiggle over. Oh, hanging into things here. Okay. I just want to see if I can hit this. Okay, I'm making a couple little cuts. Can I reach this bad boy? Let's pivot the lift. Now I can. So do I have anything up here? I got that up there yet. And I've got that up there. That one I can get from inside. But I should go up and get these. Okay, moving sideways. Oops. Up, head on a swivel. All right, right here. We can drop cut this out of here. It's close enough. It'll compartmentalize. All right, that one I can get from over there. I've got one above me though. Now, I probably should come all the way out here on the other side of this. Look at this. Break into the open. Oh, it's telling me I'm kind of all the way out here. I got bouncing while extended. Okay. So this is the last one up here. all right, you can drop that off. Come on, drop. There you go. Don't you have a brother-in-law too? Terry? Yeah. No, but the other brother-in-law with the guide. Sure. And does he guide still? Is he kind of retirement age? Okay. Dead one. Oh, it's gonna hang. You devil. May hang forever. You know, that's a dead branch right there. Okay, I'll just do this with the pole saw. I'm gonna put that right on top of my oh, don't hit the lift. Don't hit my lift. So we got this side all done, I think. Oh, I got one way up high there. So when I go into the middle, this out here where it's not gonna hit my lift. All right, so I can get up there. I got a couple up there when I go up in the middle. So I gotta go all the way down. I'm gonna tap out. All right, I want to discuss a little something here. Here's a natural retrenchment pruning. This was probably a summer branch drop kind of failure on this tree. And what a summer branch drop is a tension compression crack that runs, you know, laterally along the branch, and then if it happens all at once, it snaps open and then the top side breaks off and the whole branch falls. And that might have took out the power back in the day. And it usually fails not right at a union where we would cut it, right? It fails out along the branch. And then these epicormic sprouts come out, and you can see one of those is, you know, going to be fairly sizable. You know, it'll kind of pick one to go vertical. And now the decay is out there at the end of the branch, and all of these epicormics are keeping this alive. Well, a big pocket of decay right here at this union where this goes out here would be, you know, detrimental, you know, to the long-term integrity of this large limb. So this is a better situation. Now we come along on a fresh break like that and we say, oh, we got to cut her off at the tree. Well, do we? Not necessarily. Maybe we want this to happen. Here we got Mr. Squirrel, has his little winter home there. We're providing habitat and everything like that. So yeah, in scenarios where you don't have the super fussy client that wants his tree to look neat and tidy like his living room or her living room, you know, keeping these branches on and letting them sprout is not ecologically bad for the tree. Just something to think about. Game of trees, we're having fun. All right, we're going to use the DinoLift to manipulate up and through this canopy. You gotta stay in front of that. You gotta get above this. Come forward. Gotta go down. So, oh, goodness sakes, stop turning your basket. Now I could boom in. I'm trying to get my lower boom up. So that I can come through this gap. Oh, head on a swivel, I'm up against this. Where am I going? What do I got here? I've got some deadwood down there, so I'm gonna boom in, jib up. Got one piece of deadwood over here. And I'm going right down there next. Swivel. Now I can lower boom up. Okay, my lower boom's all the way up, so now I can jib down, boom up, jib down, wiggle myself in here. Now I can flatten out my upper boom as far as I can. Boom out, boom down a little bit. All right, probably right there. Now I can make these cuts. I'd get that hanger out of there. So this actually was retrenched by the power company. They did some line clearance on this. And they didn't do, you know, altogether terrible job. They could have brought it back to ladder a little better, but side boom, make sure we're not hitting anything. So this was a tear out, tore all the way down there, so that's, you know, less than favorable. But I wouldn't want to go and make a big cut there and then open that up for that decay to coalesce. Kind of better off having these epicormics out here, keeping that alive. Okay, one last cut here. All right, now we got to go down and under, come across and get these, and then we're about done. All right, tap out. So here's one of my last cuts. So this was a breakout. It was probably a summer branch drop kind of thing. It attempted to sprout and then, you know, pulled back itself. So I lose nothing by cutting this off. You know, will the decay spread faster down there versus leaving this on? I don't know. It'll decay down into there no matter what. So we're just as well taking this completely dead branch all the way off. All right, let's see how the little battery cuts this big dry oak. Saprophytes here. It's starting to discolor on the inside, but it's not full decay yet. Keep that live branch on. Close enough for government work. All right, we'll leave these small ones on. This one on. Hangers over here. What time is it, Leo? 11:55. So we had 15 man hours on this prune. And there's 3 of us. So that gives us 5 man hours in which to, you know, make quota, so to speak. And it looks like we're going to do that because we got here at about 9 o'clock. We had a safety meeting this morning. And it's just about noon right now. Do I got any other hangers to go get? Yeah. See another little... Oh, there was a piece of deadwood up here that I'm like, gosh, that's dead. Where was that? It was so obvious before. Yeah. Yeah, a couple of them out there. Yeah, but since I'm right out here, might as well. It's big enough that it's noticeable. What's funny, I think I was... Oh, I got this little hanger in here. I better get it before I forget. I think I was through this little avenue before. How was I all the way here and didn't see those? The head on the swivel. I might have been busy educating, yeah. Because, yeah, there's one right there. That was ready to fall. That's ready to fall. This is dead right here. That was about 2 inch. Going there. Oh, that one out there. Oh yeah. Get him on the way back. Oh, the hanger syndrome. Thought I'd help you out there. Yeah, I try to help. All right, there was a dead one over here that I saw from the other side of the tree. It just looked so stinking obvious. Oh, it's over there. I see it now. Got a little hanger right here. looks dead from a ways away, but maybe it's not. I don't think it is. It's just the sunlight. No, that's alive. And that's alive. And that's alive. Yeah, it was lying to me. Okay. I want to close up my video, so you better kill that chainsaw just for a second. All right. Well, this was a little training, well, I wouldn't call it a training pruning, retrenchment pruning, deadwood, maintenance prune, a typical maintenance prune. Retrenchment pruning, which is reductions, wasn't specifically listed on this particular work order, but I was able to make some judicious cuts here that probably, you know, provide value and fell within the, you know, crown raising kind of description that was on there. But gives you a good example of the DinoLift here, RBG. If you can see their number there, 603-895-3803. out in New Hampshire. Give them a call and inquire into a DinoLift if you've got an operation that could use it. And if you're a homeowner watching this, you've learned a little bit about how to reduce branches and some different particular things about, you know, stubs on trees. You know, if they're already growing over and compartmentalizing, you don't want to take that deadwood off only right at where the new growth is. Don't go and take that stub off. And then if you got a broken branch stub and it's sprouting already, probably let the tree decide what it's going to do with that, and that will probably be the best thing for your tree versus making it clean and neat. Game of Trees, we're having fun. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Beautiful day. It's above freezing. Just balmy, sunny day. You guys are having a good time. He wants to light up the chipper. Let's go have lunch, guys. Come on.
High, there's always a risk when you're playing the game of trees.